So when you think of a new console release, what games do you have in mind? You have in mind maybe a Mario Kart, a new Mario platformer game, a new Legends of Zelda game. You think of the first party big hitters, but in this video, I'm going to talk about one of the most overlooked Nintendo Switch 2 game, and that one being Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma. Rune Factory has gone far apparently because Nintendo has blessed Guardians of Azuma by making it a launch title for the Nintendo Switch 2. But do you guys know anything about it? Well, worry not, because in this video I'm going to give you everything you need to know before you buy Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma for the Nintendo Switch 2, the Switch, and PC. And if you're watching this, then there's a good chance that the Nintendo Switch 2 finally released, and I have nothing to say because this is in the past. Now, I was gonna do it before you buy for the actual Nintendo Switch 2, but then I figured, you know, everybody else is gonna do a video on it, and I don't even know if my Nintendo Switch 2 is gonna come out on the day of. So I was like, you know, let me just do Guardians of Azuma because probably a lot of new people don't really know about it and the series that it comes from. So I'm here to educate. Before we start though, if you end up liking this video, then hit that like button and subscribe if you're not yet subscribed, if you like content like this and many more. Alrighty, back to Guardians of Azuma. I want to first address the biggest misconceptions when it comes to this game. Is Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma Rune Factory 6? Well, the short answer is no, but there's obviously a long answer that I would love to discuss. So this is not the next mainline game for a Rune Factory game. It is actually a spin-off of the series. I made that mistake when it got released. I was like, oh my god, Rune Factory 6! Ah! But then someone told me, hey, no, it's a spin-off of Rune Factory, and I was like, what? So it is more in the vein of Rune Factory Frontier and Rune Factory Tides of Destiny. So basically, it's a spin-off of a spin-off. Rune Factory being a spin-off from Harvest Moon. So it's a spin-off with the power of 2. Now they did try to explain why they do this, and it's mostly because it gives the developers more room to really experiment with different stuff while not making a mainline Rune Factory game. They could toy around with new mechanics, stories, or just flat out a whole different experience than a Rune Factory game. You don't really have to play any of the previous games to enjoy Guardians of Azuma. Now, I am a huge fan of Rune Factory. I recently got Rune Factory for the DS, and I've been on a Rune Factory kick for a while. Though this game, while it is very fun, it hasn't aged too well. So as of now, there has been no announcement of a Rune Factory 6, and I get it because Rune Factory 5 wasn't really reviewed all too well, especially for me. I really didn't like it at all. So I feel like they're taking their time developing a Rune Factory 6, which is honestly a good thing. And hopefully they learn a lot from Guardians of Azuma. That being said, Guardians of Azuma, it's its own game. It's not just a little side project that they're doing. It has its own mechanics, story, and lore. And just because it's not in the mainline games doesn't mean it's not important. Alrighty, now on to the consoles and specs. So it's not on all consoles, but it will be available for the Switch 2, and PC. I don't know why they didn't make a port for PlayStation 5, but it could be just budget limitations. For now at least, they could port it to other consoles down the line. First, let's start with the Switch 1. If you have a Switch 2 but decide to buy the game on the Switch 1, there is an option to upgrade it and it will run you $10. If you get the Switch 2 physical version, you could also play it on your Switch 1 or lend it to somebody who just has a Switch 1. And it even says on the back cover, this is a Switch 1 and Switch 2 version. So I really feel bad for any parents out there going shopping for Switch 2 or Switch 1 games when there's all these like little caveats and stuff that most people don't take in account for. But besides all that noise, the best thing is this game is not a key card. Woo! Thank you, Marvelous, for doing the best. If you want to hear my thoughts about it, I did a video on it, so go check that out. But essentially, I hate keycards, so I'm very happy that Marvelous has decided not to do keycards for now, and I do appreciate it. We love and support devs for doing this because it's not the cheapest route, but it's the most consumer-friendlier route. Though with that being said, in exchange, Guardians of Azuma for the Switch 2 has become a $70 game instead of a $60 game. But there's also an option where you could buy the Switch 1 version version, which is $60. I am personally picking up the Switch 2 version mainly because I've been looking forward to this game for quite a while and I want to support Marvelous for the no key card thing. As of now, I don't really know the specifics when it comes to the specs, but broadly speaking, the Switch 1 version runs at 30 FPS while the Switch 2 version runs at 60 FPS. The resolutions are a bit hazy, but it does say in the Nintendo website that the Switch 2 version will have a higher resolution. For the PC, I'm gonna put the specs you need over here. As for the Steam Deck, it is currently unknown because I really haven't heard anyone playing the game early on the Steam Deck. Alrighty, now that whole jargon is out of the way, let's talk about the actual game. First, with the story. Sorry if the light went a little bit dim, it is raining and the sun just went peace. So here's all I know so far. The story takes place in a land called Azuma, hence the name Guardians of Azuma, which has a lot of the iconography from ancient Japan with the temples, cherry blossoms, and the mystical creatures like dragons appearing. It is an all-new adventure that hasn't been explored or seen in Rune Factory. Compared to the other entries in Rune Factory, which take place in a more European-like setting, I find the setting of Guardians of Azuma really exciting. I can't wait. But as per usual with any Rune Factory game or even any spin-off Rune Factory game, your main character suffers from amnesia, which I don't like, but I will give this one a pass because I love Rune Factory. And honestly, I think it's just becoming a running gag at this point. Now, you play as either a female or a male, Subaru being the canon name for the male, and Kaguya being the canon name for the female. I am sorry if I mispronounced any of those names. So your role is the Earth Dancer, which is a person who has the power to heal the land of blight. Now, the reason why Azuma is full of blight is because an event called the Celestial Collapse caused by a colossal object crashing into Azuma, sending fragments of terrain all over the earth, sky, and sea. As a consequence of the earth being shattered, the gods of nature vanish as well. It is your job as the Earth Dancer to purify the many villages of said blight, to bring back the villagers and long-term bring back the gods themselves. So it's honestly a very typical Rune Factory story where you're one with nature and you gotta fix things that are going out of whack. If you played any Rune Factory, you'll probably get the gist of Guardians of Azuma. So story-wise, it's not anything experimental, but I also really do like it. And honestly, a lot of people don't play Rune Factory games just for the story. A majority of all the enjoyment that comes out of it comes in the gameplay. Speaking of gameplay, that is our next part. The gameplay adds many changes compared to previous entries. So basically, this game is a farming sim slash RPG, kind of like Harvestella. You have the typical cycle of planting crops, growing them, and selling them for profit. You make friends with the villagers, and also, like many other farming sims or Rune Factory games, if you get really close with a certain villager, you could actually date them. So it's kind of like a dating sim, X farming sim, X RPG. And sometimes you could shoot to the top and date gods. So your main protagonist has that divine riz or something. But the biggest difference between Rune Factory games and Guardians of Azuma really comes down to the gameplay. First, you have a village building mechanic, another game where you could dump hundreds of hours into. I love it. Seriously though, I love building mechanics. They're so fun. And it's the first time in Rune Factory history where you have that mechanic. You could construct villages by placing buildings strategically, all to entice the people to move into your village. And in return, the villagers will contribute to the village. You know the saying, it takes a village? Yeah, that's basically what this gameplay mechanic is. Now, this is where the Switch 2 version comes into play because you could use the little mouse function that it has to really build stuff good. I don't know for sure because I haven't tried it yet, but that feature is supposed to make the building mechanic much more easier. Though I would just probably use a controller. I'm sorry. Another change aspect of the game is the dating portion. You have a massive 16 characters to choose from. You could also date girl to girl or boy to boy. But what's really unique is the fact that you could alter who you date by letting you hop between timelines and date multiple characters. It's so funny when I think about it. Yeah, you can hop between timelines to date your favorite waifu without getting the other waifu mad. I'm not judging. Alrighty, now onto the gameplay. It's a typical action RPG game, and there's actually new weapons that were not introduced in any other Rune Factory game. You could use bows, talisman, dual blades, and lastly, katana. And you also have an umbrella, which helps you glide around different places. And while this is not a complete open world game, it is still a very big and open world. Alrighty, Okay, now onto my miscellaneous points. These are the points where I can't fit in any other category, and the more like fun facts. First thing, Hina makes an appearance in this game, which if you don't know, Hina is a character from Rune Factory 5. So it kind of implies that Guardians of Azuma and the mainline Rune Factory games take place in the same universe, which makes sense. And something else I'm really excited about is the inclusion of Sakuna. So Sakuna is the main protagonist in Sakuna of Rice and Ruin, which I really love the game so much. So I'm happy to see that she's in this game. I'm not sure what role she plays in the game, but I love to see it. Hopefully we get to grow some rice. Now onto some small quality of life aspects in the game. One of them being you could use the sacred instrument to help you with farming. Now you're still gonna have to farm, but it makes it a little bit more easier and faster. In this game, you have to pick every crop one by one. It really shows how much we take quality of life changes in farming sims for granted, cause oh boy. Oh, and a little fun fact, the producer of this game, Hisashi Fuji, sorry if I mispronounced that, used to work at Capcom before moving to Marvelous. And he also had a hand in creating Monster Hunter Stories too. So that's pretty cool. Alrighty, that is the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed and I hope you guys found this very informational. If you did, then please share it around to other people and tell me in the comments down below, are you getting this game? Are you not? Are you getting it for the Switch 2 or the original Switch? If you enjoyed this video, then please hit that like button. It helps the video out a lot, and consider subscribing if you're not yet subscribed, if you like content like this and many more. And without further ado, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and as always, play a good game. Peace.